Hi all, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I released a couple of days ago a YouTube short regarding some information I'd been reading about, which was basically the reissue of the anthology book that accompanied the 5-hour documentary and the 3 double albums by the Beatles. And there is speculation that it's going to be, or I think there's news that it will be reissued, the book itself, this year, 2025, either the 15th of October or November. So, of course, that has been leading to speculation. Well, is this the next release by, Beatles Corp or Apple Corp? In that they're going to not only reissue the book, but they will reissue the 3 double albums that I've mentioned already. So, the answer to that at the moment for me, well, from me anyway, and the answer is no, but I don't think anybody actually knows, to be fair. So, again, it's all just speculation. But it's like a lot of things with us Beatle fans, isn't it? You hear some news and you think, oh, that's interesting, Am I actually going to be able to hear, for instance, Real Love and Free as a Bird, all, AI'd up and sounding fantastic, which I've got to be honest would be absolutely fabulous. I would love to hear that because, back in 1995, around November time, I remember Free as a Bird dropped along with the accompanying video, and I did watch it and I thought, wow, this is really good. I like this. And this was part of the new, or the 2 new Beatles singles that had been recorded, obviously using tapes that Paul had been given by Yoko Ono of John's demos, and they all 3 went into the studio, George and Ringo and Paul, and recorded along with these demo tracks. And Jeff Lynne, of course, wonderful producer, stepped in and added his magic to it. Now, I will confess, in 1995, I was very excited to watch Anthology. Obviously, it was a big 5-hour series on TV, and yeah, I was excited to watch it. And the marketing for Free as a Bird really did help cement my intent to watch that documentary. And part of the reason why I bought the first Anthology album, and indeed the second one, was because of, firstly, Free as a Bird. Yeah, not a bad song. Didn't dislike it. Loved the video. Lots of Beatle iconography in it, here and there. Very well done. I enjoyed that. Thought the video was brilliant. And yes, I bought this album on the strength of that song. And I do like this album. Now, I'm not going to give a blow-by-blow account of these albums by any stretch, because I will confess that, I've listened to them on and off, but ultimately, they're a collection of little snippets of interviews. There's early songs, some of which were already out there at the time, and I've got on vinyl, such as tracks like The Sheik of Araby, 3 Cool Cats, Besame Mucho, probably the popular one that most people maybe think of early Beatles, and certainly that turns up in that wonderful comedy film 3 Amigos. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here. Yeah, I did enjoy that. So yeah, it was probably my favourite anthology album, I think, of the 3, if I'm honest. So that was good. So obviously, you're treated to sort of alternative mixes of songs, different versions maybe, and obviously outtakes of the recording sessions. And as time went on, the one that Anthology Volume 3 I quite enjoyed, because it was showing the process of how Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was recorded. So you had all those different tracks, obviously just instruments on their own. Then you could hear some of the, the backing and all the different, techniques they'd used. So that was quite interesting. So I went along and bought Volume 2 again because of Free as a Bird, which I think is an absolutely wonderful song, superior to, not Free as a Bird, Real Love, sorry, from Volume 2, which I think was superior to Real Love. And truthfully, if they did, reissue these three mammoth double albums, then the obvious choice really in the remasters and the reissues would be, firstly, to AI's Free as a Bird and Real Love. Now, I think those songs would be absolutely brilliant if they were now given the opportunity to go through the process of being digitally enhanced using the AI model that Peter Jackson developed, of course. Then I think, I mean, if you can imagine, I mean, we know Now and Then sounds way better than it would have if it had appeared on Anthology 3. And I just think that if there's two songs that deserve that treatment, it would be Real Love and Free as a Bird. And I think it would just really make them sound just, I just think they'd sound absolute. I just think they'd sound great, actually, because I don't think they're bad songs. But if we could enhance those vocals, it would just make such a big difference. And also, if there was an opportunity, I would suggest that we put on Volume 3 that we not only put Now and Then as we know it, being recorded obviously by Paul and Ringo, but I would like to see a version with the bridge in, which was obviously left out. And you can see it, or you used to be able to find it on YouTube. And Now and Then with the bridge in, I think just really lifted that song. So I was pretty disappointed when you got Now and Then, but the bridge was just completely missing. And I think that just, I don't know, I just think my argument is it could have been so much better keeping the bridge in. But anyway, I don't know. For whatever reason, they didn't include it. But I think it would be interesting if we can have, obviously, the first port call for any of these three would be to put on the three singles, Real Love, Free as a Bird, and Now and Then. And of course, the first two being brought up to that wonderful standard of the quality of Now and Then, when they're actually put on the albums again. But apart from that, I don't see what else really you could do with the anthology albums, apart from perhaps remastering the sound, perhaps incorporating again a bit of AI to, touch things up and tweak them a bit to make them sound a bit better. I just don't know what else you could do. I mean, if you think about it, so much stuff's been done already. You've got obviously the super deluxe stuff of Get Back and Revolver. So, you couldn't, I can't see you'd put any of that in. Or maybe you could include some of it on there. Some of the Escher sessions, even. I mean, I love those on the White Album when they were included on a deluxe edition. Thought that was brilliant. It was great to hear those tracks from the Escher recordings, the Escher sessions. Really enjoyed it. But, what could you actually do with the anthology albums apart from revitalize the collection of outtakes, alternative takes, and obviously put the three singles, Beatles singles, as they are known, on these albums, and obviously just give them that loving AI touch that works so well for Now and Then. So I don't know, but anyway, as I say, it's all speculation. But anyway, what would you like to see on them? Is there anything you could really envision putting on these, seeing as most of it, as I say, has been done already, either on the super deluxe sets or even now, obviously the red and blue albums, which have got additional tracks and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, Let me hear your thoughts, guys. Take care. See you soon. Bye.